네, 안녕하십니까. 저는 세은심리상담연구소의 자문교수로 있는 이상민입니다. 여러분들 같대 이거 실시간으로 보여주면 더욱 좋겠지만, 많은 분들이 이걸 이미 시청했다고 해서, 이번에는 제가 녹화를 해서, 세 가지 상담 접근, Three Approach in Psychotherapy라고 해서 TAP라고 부르는 로저스, 펄스, 앨리스의 상담 시연 영상을 갖다가 제가 보여드리고, 그 영상에 대해서 설명하는 시간을 가지도록 하겠습니다. 아마도 이게 너무나도 긴 영상이기 때문에 각각 하나씩 잘라서 제가 영상을 갖다가 녹화를 하고 그리고 여러분들한테 보여주는 그런 시간을 갖도록 할 테니까 아마 좀 길어도 여러분들이 좀 이해해 주면 감사하겠다고 생각됩니다. 자, 시작하겠습니다. 자, 이 세 가지 상담에 대해서 영상에 대해서 약간 설명을 하면은요. 그 세 가지 영상의 그 제목을 달면서 제가 시작을 해보겠습니다. 첫 번째 저희가 시청할 영상은 로저스가 상담 시연을 한 건데요. 저는 이걸 갖다가 이제 Having Man to the House, 남자를 갖다가 집안에 들이기라는 제목입니다. 그래서 남자를 집안에 들인다라는 제목을 제가 왜 이렇게 달았는지 한번 영상을 보면은 알게 될 거고요. 기본적으로 이 영상을 본 후에, 그러니까 이 제목의 영상을 본 후에 이 인간 중심 접근에 대한, 그러니까 인간 중심 상담 접근이라고 하죠. 이거에 대해서 부연 설명하겠습니다. 로저스가 어떻게 상담을 했고 어떠한 상담 기법을 사용했는지 얘기할 거고요. 두 번째 영상은 저희가 보여줄 영상은 펄스, 프레드릭 펄스죠. 게스탈트 접근의 창시자입니다. 요 제목은 You are a phone이라는 영상의 제목을 제가 붙였습니다. 원래 이 사람들이 그 영상의 제목을 붙이진 않았고요. 상담 시연 영상의 제목을 제가 You are a phone. 한국말로는 너는 척하는 사람이야. 너는 가식적인 아이야. 라는 제목입니다. 이 영상을 역시 마찬가지로 본 후에 그 게스탈트 접근에 대한 부연적인 접근, 이 사람이 어떻게 상담을 했고 저는 이걸 갖다가 이 상담 시연, 프레드릭 펄스가 어떻게 상담했다라고 생각하는지에 대해서 기존의 연구와 함께 제가 게스탈트 이론 기법을 가지고 설명하는 시간을 갖도록 하겠습니다. 세 번째 우리가 볼 비디오는요. 닥터 알버트 앨리스, REBT, Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy, REBT의 그 접근법을 창시한 알버트 앨리스 비디오입니다. 이 영상의 제목은 제가 Attracting Man, 남자 꼬시기라는 제목으로 제가 일부러 영상의 이름을 지었는데요. 이 영상을 보고 역시 마찬가지로 알버트 앨리스 선생님이 어떤 식으로 상담을 했는지, 합리적, 정서적 접근에 대해서, REBT에 대해서 어떻게 기법이 이 영상에 스며들었는지에 대해서 얘기하고요. 그런 후에 이게 이제 글로리아라는 내담자가 이제 이 새 영상을 찍은 거거든요. 그 글로리아는 이 상담 영상에 대해서 어떻게 생각했는지, 이 상담 시연의 후기의 영상을 보여주면서 저 역시 마찬가지로 이 생 상담자들이 어떤 식으로 접근했는지, 새 상담 기법들을 갖다가 비교하고 분석하면서 이 녹화 영상을 마무리하려고 합니다. 자, 시간이 좀 오래 걸리겠지만, 천천히 보셔도 돼요. 이제 녹화했으니까, 빨리 영상을 돌려서 볼 수도 있고, 천천히 영상을 보면서 중간중간에 끊어서 볼 수도 있고, 이렇게 가능하게 될 것 같습니다. 자, 이 영상이 어떻게 찍혀졌는지 한번 그 배경을 보면은요. 1965년도, 현재로부터 언젠가요? 와우, 엄청 오래전이죠? 한 5, 60년 전에 미국 남가주주, 서든 캘리포니아입니다. 남가주라니까 유명하죠. 서든 캘리포니아. 남쪽에, 캘리포니아 남쪽에 쇼스트램 박사라는 닥터 쇼스트램 박사가 당시에 가장 유명한 세 가지 상담 이론을 창시한 사람을 갖다 초청합니다. 첫 번째 누구죠? 칼 로저스. 우리나라 사람들 뭐지 알죠? 상담하시는 분 중에 난 칼 로저스 몰라요 하는 분 있으면은 아직 상담을 제대로 배우지 못한 분이겠죠. 그 다음에 두 번째, 게스탈트 이론의 창시자 누구죠? 프레드릭 펄스입니다. 프레드릭 펄스를 초청했고요. 마지막으로 알버트 앨리스, REBT, 당시에는 RT라고 했고요. 그 다음에 RET로 바뀌죠. 그 다음에 지금 현재로는 이제 REBT라고 되어 있는 알버트 앨리스, 이 세 분을 초청해서 자기의 내담자였던 글로리아라는 여자를 직접 30분에서 40분 정도 상담하게 했습니다. 글로리아라는 내담자는요, 이 자녀가 있는 이혼녀였고요. 이미 쇼스트롬 박사와 개인 및 집단 상담을 했던 경험이 있는 내담자였습니다. 기본적으로 여러분들 내담자 하면은 그 상담 내담자로 가장 유명한 사람 기억나는 사람이 누가 있나요? 네, 아마 안나 오 혹은 뭐 리들 한스, 네, 프로이드의 내담자들 생각나겠죠? 근데 미국 사람들한테 미국 상담자한테 물어보면 아마 글로리아를 가장 많이 알 겁니다. 그만큼 이 BDO는 엄청나게 많은 상담 교육, 심리치료 교육에 사용되었고요. 결국은 이 비디오가 너무나도 많이 사용되고 심지어 내셔널 TV에서까지도 이 비디오가 방영이 되어서 글로리아는 이 비디오 사용 문제건으로 자신의 상담자였던 쇼스트롬을 고발하는 그런 일도 발생했다라는 걸 얘기하고 싶습니다. 그래서 이거 역시 윤리적으로 상담 시험, 비디오 녹화 이런 걸 갖다가 우리가 조금 더 생각해 볼 수 있는 어떤 면에서는 그런 논쟁거리를 주는 우리에게 논의점, 함의점을 주는 그런 거이 아닌가 이런 생각이 봅니다. 자, 첫 번째 로저스의 영상을 한번 보면서 우리가 한번 얘기해 보면 어떨 것 같습니다. 자, 로저스의 영상 Having Man to the House입니다. 한번 같이 한번 보실까요? 자, 남의 상담에게 보는 거 약간 지루하죠. 특히나 로저스 상담은 로저스가 워낙 어때요? 비지시적이고 내담자 중심이고 인간 중심적이기 때문에 약간 조금 너무 오래된 영상이라서 보기 쉽지 않겠지만 그래도 칼 로저스의 상담을 직접 보기 쉽지 않고 이렇게 번역돼 가지고 자막까지 거친 게 어려우니까 여러분 한번 집중해서 한번 보시면 도움이 많이 될 거라고 봅니다. 이 영상은 맨 처음에는 칼 로저스 선생님이 자기의 이론에 대해서 한 5분 정도 설명을 하고요. 그런 후에 뭐가 나올까요? 당연히 자기의 상담하는 걸 글로리아하고 상담하는 걸 보여주고요. 그 다음에 글로리아하고 상담한 거에 있어서 자기 이론을 가지고 다시 설명하는 그렇게 세 개로 나눠서 영상이 구성되어 있습니다. 자, 한번 보시죠.
Psychotherapy is such a personal and private process that it is a mystery to most people who have never gone through it. The following series is a unique effort that allows us to sit in on what is ordinarily a very private therapeutic experience. An actual patient was courageous enough and considerate enough to allow herself to be photographed while actually engaged in therapy with 3 different therapists. Thus, we are allowed the privilege of seeing and feeling what really transpires. A film series like this, in which 3 therapists, distinguished by their different orientations, share their therapeutic endeavors, has never been made before. We therefore wish to express our gratitude to Gloria, the patient, and to her therapists for allowing us to share in their therapeutic adventure. This series will be divided into 3 separate films. In the first film, we see Dr. Carl Rogers, founder of client-centered therapy, interviewing Gloria. In film number 2, Dr. Frederick Pearls, founder of Gestalt therapy, is working with her. And in film number 3, Dr. Albert Ellis, founder of Rational Emotive Therapy, is our therapist. Each therapist will first describe his system of therapy briefly. He will then demonstrate his work with Gloria, and then he will comment briefly on his work. Now, here's Dr. Carl Rogers.
From my own years of therapeutic experience, I've come to feel that if I can create the proper climate, the proper relationship, the proper conditions, a process of therapeutic movement will almost inevitably occur in my client. You might ask, what is this climate? What are these conditions? Will they exist in the interview with the woman I'm about to talk with, whom I've never seen before? Well, let me try to describe very briefly what these conditions are as I see them. First of all, one question is, can I be real in the relationship? This has come to have an increasing amount of importance to me over the years. I feel that genuineness is another way of describing the quality I would like to have. I like the term congruence, by which I mean that what I'm experiencing inside is present in my awareness and comes out through my communication. In a sense, when I have this quality, I'm all in one piece in the relationship. There's another word that describes it for me. I feel that in the relationship, I would like to have a transparency. I would be quite willing for my client to see all the way through me, that there would be nothing hidden. And when I'm real in this fashion that I'm trying to describe, then I know that my own feelings will often bubble up into awareness and be expressed, but be expressed in ways that won't impose themselves on my client. Then the second question I would have is, will I find myself prizing this person, caring for this person? I certainly don't want to pretend a caring that I don't feel. In fact, if I dislike my client persistently, I feel it's better that I should express it. But I know that the process of therapy is much more likely to occur, and constructive change is much more likely, if I feel a real spontaneous prizing of this individual with whom I'm working. A prizing of this person as a separate individual. You can call that quality acceptance, you can call it caring, you can call it a non-possessive love, if you wish. I think any of those terms tend to describe it. I know that the relationship will prove more constructive if it's present. Then the third quality, will I be able to understand the inner world of this individual from the inside? Will I be able to see it through her eyes? Will I be able to be sufficiently sensitive to move around inside the world of her feelings so that I know what it feels like to be her, so that I can sense not only the surface meanings but some of the meanings that lie somewhat underneath the surface. I know that if I can let myself sensitively and accurately enter into her world of experience, then change and therapeutic movement are much more likely. Well, suppose I am fortunate and that I do experience some of these attitudes in the relationship, what then? Well, then a variety of things are likely to happen, both from my clinical experience and from our research investigations. We find that if attitudes of the sort that I've described are present, then quite a number of things will happen. She'll explore some of her feelings and attitudes more deeply. She's likely to discover some hidden aspects of herself that she wasn't aware of previously. Feeling herself prized by me, it's quite possible she'll come to prize herself more. Feeling that some of her meanings are understood by me, then she can more readily perhaps listen to herself, listen to what's going on within her own experience, listen to some of the meanings she hasn't been able to catch before. And perhaps if she senses a realness in me, she'll be able to be a little more real within herself. I suspect there will be a change in the manner of her expression. At least this has been my experience in other instances. From being rather remote from her experiencing, remote from what's going on within her, it's possible that she'll move toward more immediacy of experiencing, that she will be able to sense and express what's going on in her in the immediate moment. From being disapproving of herself, it's quite possible she will move toward a greater degree of acceptance of herself. From somewhat of a fear of relating, she may move toward being able to relate more directly and to encounter me more directly. From construing life in somewhat rigid black and white patterns, she may move toward more tentative ways of construing her experience and of seeing the meanings in it. From a locus of evaluation which is outside of herself, it's quite possible she will move toward recognizing a greater capacity within herself for making judgments and drawing conclusions. So those are some of the changes that we have. If I have any success in creating the kind of conditions that I described initially, then we may be able to see some of these changes in this client, even though I know in advance that our contact is going to be very brief. Good morning.
Hello, Dr.
I'm Dr. Rogers. You must be Gloria.
Yes, I am.
Let's have this chair. Well, we have half an hour together, and I really don't know what we'll be able to make of it, but I hope we can make something of it. I'd be glad to know whatever concerns you.
Well, right now I'm nervous, but I feel more comfortable the way you're talking in a low voice, and I don't feel like you'll be so harsh on me. But,
I hear the tremor in your voice, so you are uneasy.
well, the main thing I want to talk to you about is I'm just newly divorced, and I had gone in therapy before, and I felt comfortable when I left, and all of a sudden now the biggest change is adjusting to my single life. And one of the things that bother me the most is especially men, and having men to the house, and how it affects the children, and the biggest thing the thing that keeps coming to my mind I want to tell you about is I have a daughter 9 who at one time I felt I had a lot of emotional problems. I wish I could stop shaking. And I'm real conscious of things affecting her. I don't want her to get upset. I don't want to shock her. I want so bad for her to accept me. And we're real open with each other, especially about sex. And the other day she saw a girl that was single but pregnant, and she asked me all about, can girls get pregnant if they're single? And the conversation was fine, and I wasn't on at ease at all with her until she asked me if I'd ever made love to a man since I left her daddy. And I lied to her. And ever since that, it keeps coming up to my mind because I feel so guilty lying to her, because I never lie, and I want her to trust me. And I almost want an answer from you. I want you to tell me if it will affect her wrong, if I told her the truth, or what.
And it's this concern about her and the fact that you really aren't, that this open relationship that has existed between you now, you feel is kind of
Yes, I feel like I have to be on guard about that, because I remember when I was a little girl, when I first found out my mother and father made love, it was dirty and terrible, and I didn't like her anymore for a while. And I don't want to lie to Pammy either, and I don't know.
And you sure wish I could give you the answer as to what you should tell her.
Oh, I was afraid you were going to say that.
Because what you really want is an answer.
I want to especially know if it would affect her, if I was completely honest and open with her, or if it would affect her because I lied. I feel like it's bound to make a strain because I lied to her.
Sort of feels she'll suspect that, or she will know something's not quite
I
right.
feel that inside she'll distrust me, yes. And also I thought, well, gee, what about when she gets a little older and she finds herself in touchy situations? She probably wouldn't want to admit it to me because she thinks I'm so good and so sweet. And yet I'm afraid she could think I'm really a devil. And I want so bad for her to accept me. And I don't know how much a 9-year-old can take.
And really, both alternatives concern you, that she might think you're too good or better than you really are.
Yes.
And she might think that you're worse than you are.
Not worse than I am. I don't know if she can accept me the way I am. I think I paint a picture that I'm all sweet and motherly, and I'm a little ashamed of my shady side, too.
I see. It really cuts a little deeper. If she really knew you, could she accept you?
This is what I don't know, yes. I don't want her to turn away from me. And I don't even know how I feel about it, because there are times when I feel so guilty, like when I have a man over. I even try to make a special setup so that if I were ever alone with him, the children would never catch me and that sort of thing. Because I'm real leery about it. And yet I also know I have these desires.
So it's quite clear. It isn't only her problem or the relationship with her, it's in you as well.
And my guilt, yeah, I feel guilty so often.
What can I accept myself as doing? And,
yes.
And you realize that you set up sort of subterfuges so as to make sure that you're not caught or something. You realize that you are acting from guilt, is that?
Yes. I don't like the way, I would like to feel comfortable with whatever I do. If I choose not to tell Pammy the truth, to feel comfortable that she can't handle it, and I don't. I want to be honest, and yet I feel there are some areas that I don't even accept.
And if you can't accept them in yourself, how could you possibly be comfortable in telling them to her?
Right.
And yet, as you say, you do have these desires and you do have your feelings, but you don't feel good about them.
Right. And I have a feeling you're just going to sit there and let me stew in it, and I want more. I want you to help me get rid of my guilt feeling. If I can get rid of my guilt feeling about lying or going to bed with a single man, any of that, just so I can feel more comfortable.
And I guess I'd like to say, no, I don't want to let you just stew in your feelings, but on the other hand, I also feel that this is the kind of very private thing that I couldn't possibly answer for you, but I sure as anything will try to help you work toward your own answer. I don't know whether that makes any sense to you, but I mean it.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. You sound like you mean it. But I don't know where to go. I don't begin to know where to go. I thought that I'd pretty well worked over most of my guilt, and now that this is coming up, I'm disappointed in myself. I really am. I like it when I feel that no matter what I do, even if it's against my own morals or my upbringing, that I can still feel good about me. And now I don't. Like, there's a girl at work who sort of mothers me, and I think she thinks I'm all sweet, and I sure don't want to show my more ornery, devilish side with her. I want to be sweet, and it's so hard for me to, this all seems so new again, and it's so disappointing.
Yeah, I get the disappointment that here, a lot of these things you thought you'd worked through, and now the guilt and the feeling that only a part of you is acceptable to anybody else.
Yes.
That keeps coming out. I guess I do catch the real deep puzzlement that you feel as to what the hell shall I do? What can I do?
Yes, and you know what I can find, Doctor, is that everything I start to do, that impulse, it seems natural to tell Pammy or to go out on a date or something, I'm comfortable until I think how I was affected as a child. And the minute that comes up, then I'm all haywire. Like, I want to be a good mother so bad, and I feel like I am a good mother. But then there's those little exceptions, like my guilt's with working. I want to work, and it's so fun having extra money. I like to work nights. The minute I think I'm not being real good to the children or giving them enough time, then I start feeling guilty again. Then that's when it's what do they call it? A double bind. That's just what it feels like. I want to do this, and it feels right, but after all, I'm not being a good mother, and I want to be both. I'm becoming more and more aware of what a perfectionist I am. That's what it seems like. I want to be so perfect. Either I want to become perfect in my standards or not have that need anymore.
Or I guess I hear it a little differently, that what you want is to seem perfect. That it means it's a matter of great importance to you to be a good mother, and you want to seem to be a good mother even if some of your actual feelings differ from that. Does that catch you?
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm saying that. No, that isn't what I feel, really.
Okay.
I want to approve of me always, but my actions won't let me. I want to approve of me. I think...
I realize you... All right, but I'd like to understand that. You sound as though your actions are kind of outside of you. You want to approve of you, but what you do somehow won't let you approve of yourself.
Right. Like, I feel that I could approve of myself regarding, for example, my sex life. This is the big thing. If I really fell in love with a man and I respected him and I adored him, I don't think I'd feel so guilty going to bed with him, and I don't think I'd have to make up any excuses to the children because they could see my natural caring for him. But when I have the physical desire and I'll say, oh, well, why not, and I want to anyway, then I feel guilty afterwards. I hate facing the kids, I don't like looking at myself, and I rarely enjoy it. And this is what I mean. If the circumstances would be different, I don't think I'd feel so guilty because I'd feel right about it.
Yeah, I guess I hear you saying, if what I was doing when I went to bed with a man was really genuine and full of love and respect and so on, I wouldn't feel guilty in relation to Pam. I wouldn't, I really would be comfortable about the situation.
That's how I feel, yes. And I know that sounds like I want a perfect situation, but that is how I feel. And in the meantime, I can't stop these desires. I've tried that also. I've tried saying, okay, I don't like myself when I do that, so I won't do it anymore. But then I resent the children. I think, why should they stop me from doing what I want? And it's really not that bad.
But I guess I heard you saying, too, that it isn't only the children, that you don't like it as well when it really isn't
I'm
right.
sure I know that's it, probably even more so than I'm aware of. But I only notice it so much when I pick it up in the children. Then I can also notice it in myself.
And somehow, sometimes you kind of feel like blaming them for the feelings you have. I mean, why should they cut you off from a normal sex life?
Well, a sex life, I could say, not normal, because there is something about me that says that's not very healthy to just go into sex because you feel physically attractive or something, or a physical need. So something about it tells me that's not quite right anyway.
So to feel really that at times you are acting in ways that are not in accord with your own inner standards.
Right, right.
But then you were also saying a minute ago that you feel you can't help that either.
I wished I could. That's it. And I can't. Now I feel like I can't control myself as well as I could have before for a specific reason. Now I can't. I just let go, and there's too many things I do wrong that I have to feel guilty for, and I sure don't like that. I want you very much to give me a direct answer, and I'm going to ask it, and I don't expect a direct answer, but I want to know, do you feel that, to me, the most important thing is to be open and honest? And if I can be open and honest with my children, do you feel that it could harm them if, for example, I could say to Pammy, I felt bad lying to you, Pammy, and I want to tell you the truth now. And if I tell her the truth, and she's shocked at me, and she's upset, that could bother her more. I want to get rid of my guilt, and that'll help me, but I don't want to put them on her.
That's right.
Do you feel that could hurt her?
Concern. I guess, I'm sure this will sound evasive to you, but it seems to me that perhaps the person you're not being fully honest with is you.
Sure.
Because I was very much struck by the fact that you were saying, if I feel all right about what I have done, whether it's going to bed with a man or what, if I really feel all right about it, then I don't have any concern about what I would tell Pam or my relationship with her.
Right. All right. Now I hear what you're saying. Then all right, then I want to work on. I want to work on accepting me. Then I want to work on feeling all right about it. Now that makes sense. That'll come natural, and then I won't have to worry about Pammy. But when things do seem so wrong for me, and I have an impulse to do them, how can I accept that?
What you'd like to do is to feel more accepting toward yourself when you do things that you feel are wrong. Is that right?
Right. And I feel like
a tough assignment.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to say, now why do you think they're wrong? And I have mixed feelings there too. Through therapy, I'll say, now look, I know this is natural. Women feel it. Sure, we don't talk about it a lot socially, but all women feel it, and it's very natural. I've had sex for the last 11 years. I'm, of course, going to want it, but I still think it's wrong unless you're really, truly in love with a man. And my body doesn't seem to agree. And so I don't know how to accept it.
Sounds like a triangle to me, doesn't it? You feel that I, or therapists in general, or other people say, it's all right, it's natural enough, go ahead. And I guess you feel your body sort of lines up on that side of the picture. But something in you says, but I don't like it that way, not unless it's really right.
Right. Well, I have a hopeless feeling. I mean, these are all the things I sort of feel myself, and I feel, okay, now what?
You feel this is the conflict, and it's just insoluble, and therefore it's hopeless. And here you look to me, and I don't seem to give you any help. And
right. I really know you can't answer for me, and I have to figure it out myself. But I want you to guide me, or show me where to start, or so it won't look so hopeless. I know I can keep living with this conflict, and I know eventually things would work out, but I like feeling more comfortable with the way I live. And I'm not.
One thing I might ask, what is it you wish I would say to you?
I wish you would say to me to be honest and take the risk that Pam is going to accept me. And I also have a feeling if I could really risk it with Pammy, of all people, that I'd be able to see, here's this little kid that can accept me. And I'm really not that bad. If she really knows what a demon I am and still loves me and accepts me, it seems like it would help me to accept me more, like it's really not that bad. I want you to say, to go ahead and be honest. But I don't want the responsibility that it would upset her. That's where I don't want to take responsibility for it.
You know very well what you'd like to do in the relationship. You would like to be yourself, and you'd like to have her know that you're not perfect, and you do things that maybe even she wouldn't approve of, and that you disapprove of to some degree yourself. But that somehow she would love you and accept you as an imperfect person.
Yes. Like I wonder if my mother had been more open with me, maybe I wouldn't have had such a narrow attitude about sex. If I would have thought that she could be, you know, pretty sexy and ornery and devilish too, but I wouldn't look at her as being such a sweet mother, that she could also be the other side. But she didn't talk about that. And maybe that's where I got my picture. I don't know. But I want Pammy to see me as a full woman, but also accept me.
You don't sound so uncertain.
I don't? What do you mean?
What I mean is, you've been sitting there telling me just what you would like to do in that relationship with Pam.
I would, but I don't want to quite take the risk of doing it unless an authority tells me that...
I guess one thing that I feel very keenly is, it's an awfully risky thing to live. You'd be taking a chance on your relationship with her. You'd be taking a chance on letting her know who you are, really.
Yeah, but then if I don't take the chance, if I feel loved and accepted by her, I'm never going to feel good about it anyway.
If her love and acceptance of you is based on a false picture of you, what the hell is the good of that? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I mean, yeah. But I also feel there's a lot of responsibility with being a mother. I don't want to feel like I've caused any big traumas in the children. I don't like all that responsibility. I think that's it. I don't like it, feeling it could be my fault.
I guess that's what I meant when I said life is risky. It's to take the responsibility for being the person you would like to be with her is a hell of a responsibility.
It is.
A very frightening one.
And you know, I look at it two ways. I like to see myself as being so honest with the kids, and really being proud of myself, though, that no matter what I told them, or no matter how bad they might think I was honest. And down deep, it's going to be a much more wholesome relationship. And yet, you know, I get jealous of, like, when they're with their daddy. I feel he's more flip. He's not quite as real. He's not quite as honest. But nevertheless, they see a sweet picture of their dad. You know, he's all goodness and light. And I'm envious of that, too. I want them to see me just as sweet as they see him. And yet I know he's not quite as real with them. So it seems like I've got to swap the one for the other. And I know this is really what I want the most, but I miss some of that glory.
Yeah. You sort of feel, I want them to have just as nice a picture of me as they had of their dad, and if his is a little phony, then maybe mine will have to be too. I think that's putting it a little too strongly.
But that's close. That is what I mean. So, I know she can't have that neat a picture of me if I were honest. Besides that, I do feel I'm a little more ornery than their dad anyway, so I'm likely to do more things that they disapprove of.
Sounds like you really find it quite hard to believe that they would really love you if they knew you.
That's right. You know, that's exactly it. Before therapy, I would have definitely chosen the other area. I'm going to get respect from them no matter what, even if I have to lie.
I see.
Well, right now, I know that's not true. And I'm not positive they'll truly accept me. Something tells me they will. I know they will, but I'm not positive. I want reassurance. I keep wanting these
Now
things.
you're in kind of a no man's land of probably shifting from one point of view toward them to another, but boy, you'd sure like somebody to say, that's right, you go ahead and do it.
Yes, that's why I get encouraged when I read in a book from somebody I respect and admire that this is the right thing, no matter what, honesty will win out. Well, then that keeps giving me confidence, by gosh, I'm right. But
It's so damn hard to really choose something on your own, isn't it?
which makes me feel very immature. I don't like this in me. I wish I were grown up enough or mature enough to make my decisions and stick by them. But I need somebody to help me on, somebody to push me.
So that you kind of reproach yourself for that, I guess, and feel, why, if I was anybody or if I was grown up, I'd be mature enough to decide things like this for myself.
Right. And take more risks. I wish I'd take more risks. I wish that I could just go ahead and be this and say, however the children grow up, I've done my best. I didn't have to constantly have this conflict. And I'd like later years to say, no matter what you ask me, kids, at least I told you the truth. You may not have liked it, but it's been the truth. That somehow I can admire. I disrespect people that lie. I hate it. So you see what a double bind I am in. I hate myself if I'm bad, but I also hate myself if I lie. So it's accepting. I want to become more accepting.
And I guess, judging from your tone of voice, you sound as though you hate yourself more when you lie than you do in terms of things you disapprove of in your behavior.
I do. Because this has really bothered me. This happened with Pammy about a month ago, and it keeps coming to my mind. I don't know whether to go back and talk to her about it, or wait. She may have even forgotten what she asked me. But
The point is, you haven't forgotten.
I haven't, no. I haven't. And I'd like to at least be able to tell her that I remember lying, and I'm sorry I lied, and it's been driving me bugs because I did. I do. Now I feel like now that's solved, and I didn't even solve the thing, but I feel relieved. I do feel like you've been saying to me, you're not giving me advice, but I feel like you're saying you really want to, you know what pattern you want to follow, Gloria, and go ahead and follow it. I sort of feel a backing up from you.
I guess the way I sense it is, you've been telling me that you know what you want to do, and yes, I do believe in backing up people in what they want to do. It's just a little different slant than the way it seems to you.
Are you telling me?
See, one thing that concerns me is it's no damn good you're doing something that you haven't really chosen to do. That's why I'm trying to help you find out what your own inner choices are.
But then there's also a conflict there because I'm not really positive what I want to do. The lying part, yes, but I'm not positive what I want to do when I go against myself.
Sure.
Like when I bring a man to the house, I'm not sure I want to do that. If I feel guilty afterwards, I must not have really wanted to.
I'm interested what you say. I'm not just sure which words you use, but you don't want it, you don't like yourself, or you don't approve of it when you do something against yourself.
Yes. You know, this is so different. Now, this kind of thing that we're talking about now, it isn't just knowing whether you want to do something or not. If I want to go to work in the morning or I don't want to go to work, that's easy. But when I find myself doing something I don't feel comfortable with, I automatically say, if you're not comfortable, Gloria, it's not right. Something's wrong. All right, now what I want to ask you is, how can I know which is the strongest? Because I do it, does that mean that's the strongest? And yet, if I disapprove, that's just part of the thing that's got to go along with it? See, it sounds like I'm picking up a contradiction. I'm not following.
It sounds like you're feeling a contradiction in yourself, too. Although what I heard you saying in part is, the way you like it is when you feel really comfortable about what you're doing.
Yes. And I have at times when I've made a decision. Now that seems right. That seems perfectly right. No conflict. But then there are times I do things that I feel uncomfortable with. So that there is a conflict there. It's not the same at all. So what I'm saying is, how do I really know when I'm following my true feelings if I have conflicts afterwards or guilt afterwards?
I see, because in the moment it may seem like your true feelings.
Yes. Like if I'm starting to do it, okay.
So that really is tough. When if you feel comfortable in the moment about it, but then afterward don't feel at all comfortable, which course of action was really the one you should have followed?
You know, the most outstanding thing, I don't know if you're following me when I say about this conflict, the one thing I know is I've wanted, for example, to leave my husband for quite a few years. I never did it. I kept thinking how nice it would be or how scary it would be, but I never did it. And all of a sudden when I did, it felt right. I didn't feel mean toward him. I just knew this is what I had to do. That's when I know I'm following myself. I'm following my feelings completely. I had no conflict there. Some unhappy things came from it, but I still had no conflict. That, to me, is when I'm following my feelings. And in everyday life, the small little decisions, the small little things to do don't come out that clear at all. So many conflicts come with them.
That's right.
Is this natural?
Although you're saying, I expect it is, but you're saying, too, that you know perfectly well the feeling within yourself that occurs when you're really doing something that's right for you.
I do. I do. And I miss that feeling other times, and it's right away a clue to me.
You can really listen to yourself sometimes and realize, oh no, this isn't the right feeling. This isn't the way I would feel if I was doing what I really wanted to do.
But yet many times I'll go along and do it anyway. And say, oh well, I'm in the situation now, I'll just remember next time. I mention this word a lot in therapy, and most therapists grin at me or giggle or something when I say utopia. But when I do follow a feeling and I feel this good feeling inside me, that's sort of utopia. That's what I mean. That's the way I like to feel, whether it's a bad thing or a good thing. But I feel right about me. This is what I want to accomplish.
I sense that in those utopian moments you really feel kind of whole. You feel all in one piece.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives me a choked up feeling when you say that, because I don't get that as often as I'd like. I like that whole feeling. That's real precious to me.
I expect none of us get it as often as we'd like, but I really do understand that. It really does touch you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know what else I was just thinking? I feel dumb saying it. All of a sudden, as I'm talking to you, I thought, gee, how nice I can talk to you, and I want you to approve of me, and I respect you. But I miss that my father can talk to me like you are. I mean, I'd like to say, gee, I'd like you for my father. I don't even know why that came to me.
You look to me like a pretty nice daughter. But you really do miss the fact that you couldn't be open with your own dad.
Yeah, I couldn't be open, but I want to blame it on him. I think I'm more open than he'd allow me. I mean, he would never listen to me talk like you are. And not disapprove and not lower me down. Yeah, I thought of this the other day. Why do I always have to be so perfect? I know why. He always wanted me to be perfect. I always had to be better. And, yeah, I miss that.
You're just trying like hell to be the girl he wants you to be.
Yeah, at the same time rebelling.
Sure.
Like I almost quoted writing him a letter the other day and telling him I'm a waitress, which I expect him to disapprove of. I go out at nights, and I almost quoted, hitting him back, like, now, how do you like me? And yet I rarely want acceptance and love from him. I mean, I know he loves me.
So you slap at him and say, this is what I am now, see?
Yeah.
But
you raised me. How do you like it? But you know what I think I want him to say? I knew this was you all along, honey, and I really love you.
I guess you really feel badly that you think there's very little chance he'll say that.
No, he won't. He doesn't hear. I went back home to him about 2 years ago, really wanting to let him know I loved him, although I've been afraid of him. He doesn't hear me. He just keeps saying things like, honey, you know I love you. You know I've always loved you. And he doesn't hear.
Never really known you and loved you, and this somehow is what brings the tears inside.
I don't know what it is. You know, when I talk about it, it feels more flip. If I just sit still a minute, it feels like a great big hurt down there. That I feel cheated.
It's much easier to be a little flip, because then you don't feel that big lump inside of hurt.
And again, that's a hopeless situation. I tried working on it, and I feel it's something I have to accept. My father just isn't the type of man I'd really like. I'd like somebody more understanding and caring. He cares, but not in a way that we can cooperate or communicate.
I feel, nope, I am permanently cheated.
That's why I like substitutes. Like I like talking to you, and I like men that I can respect. Doctors, and I keep sort of maybe underneath feeling like we're real close, you know, and it's sort of like a substitute father.
I don't feel that's pretending.
Well, you're not really my father.
No, I meant about the real close business.
Well, see, I sort of feel that's pretending, too, because I can't expect you to feel very close to me. You don't know me that well.
All I can do is what I am feeling. That is, I feel close to you in this moment. In spite of feeling initially the artificiality of the situation, and particularly the hot lights, I very quickly became oblivious to the outside situation, and I think that Gloria did too. In many ways, I'm glad that she kept pushing me for an answer to her very personal questions about her sex life and her relationship to her daughter. I say I'm glad of this because as the relationship developed, it became, I think, completely clear to her as well as to me that she was seeking something a good deal deeper than that. Incidentally, I'd like to pay my tribute to her deep honesty in being willing to talk about herself so freely. Although every individual is entirely unique, and in this respect I was definitely unprepared for and sometimes surprised by the material she brought up, still in another sense this was very typical of my experiences in therapy. When I'm able really to let myself enter into a relationship, and I feel that this was true in this instance, then I find myself not only being increasingly moved by being in touch with the inner world of my client, but I find myself bringing out of my own inner experience statements which seem to have no connection with what's going on, but which usually prove to be or prove to have a very significant relationship to what the client is experiencing. I felt there were one or two incidents of this kind in this brief interview. I was genuinely moved. I probably showed it by the fact that she told me near the end of the contact that she saw me as the father she would like to have. My reply was also a thoroughly spontaneous one, that she seemed to me like a pretty nice daughter. I guess I feel that we're only playing with the real world of relationships when we talk about such an experience in terms of transference and countertransference. I feel quite deeply about that. I want to say, yes, we can put this experience into some such highly intellectualized framework, but when we do that, it completely misses the point of the very immediate I-thou quality of the relationship at such moments. I felt that Gloria and I really encountered each other, and that in some small but I believe lasting way, we were each of us enriched by the experience. I'm saying these things almost immediately after the conclusion of the interview, and as is characteristic of me, there are not more than one or two statements or incidents which I recall from the interview. I simply know that I was very much present in the relationship, that I lived it in the moment of its occurrence, and I realize that after a time I may begin to remember it too. But at the present time I really have a very non-specific memory of the whole interview. I'll try to look at it though a little bit more from an intellectual rather than a strictly feeling point of view. Gloria showed what I've come to feel are characteristic elements of therapeutic movement. In the first part of the interview, she was talking about her feelings, and they were past feelings. She was talking about aspects of her behavior and of herself as if she didn't quite own them. She was looking outside herself for a center or locus of evaluation, some source of authority. She saw some of the things she was talking about in fairly black and white fashion. By the end of the interview, she was experiencing her feelings in the immediate moment, not only as evidenced by her tears, but by her ability to express very directly and with immediacy her feelings toward me. She was also much more aware of her ability to make her own judgments and choices. I guess, put in terms that have become somewhat commonplace, you could say that she moved from the there and then of her life to the here and now of elements that she was discovering in herself and feelings which she was experiencing in the moment in her relationship with me. All in all, I feel good about the interview. I guess I feel good about myself in the interview. And like Gloria, I feel very real regret that the relationship cannot continue.
놀라지 않았죠? 네, 딱 로저스 스타일의 그 상담이었고요. 앞에 한 5분 정도 로저스가 자기 인간 중심 상담 이론에 대해서 얘기했고요. 한 20분에서 30분 정도 상담을 했고, 시연을 직접. 그 다음에 한 5분 정도 이 시연에서 자기가 느꼈던 점과, 그 다음에 이론적으로 어떻게 이걸 갖다가 해석했는지에 대해서 이야기했습니다. 여러분들 한번 이게 조금 빨라서 아마 번역했던 게 자막이 조금 빠를 수 있어요. 그 말도 좀 빨라서 그럴 수 있으니까 그걸 갖다가 만약에 여러분들이 보실 때 좀 빠르다 싶으면은 유튜브에서 좀 느리게 해서 그거 보면은 아마도 딱 맞지 않을까 이런 생각이 듭니다. 몇 번 걸쳐서 봐야지 아마 이게 조금 이해가 될 겁니다. 로저스의 앞에 이론 부분은 아마 선생님들이 많이 안 와서 로저스 이론을 쉽게 이해할 수 있을 것 같고, 시험 부분도 약간 그 문화적인 배경이 좀 달라서 몇 번 보면은 아 이런 식으로 로저스가 했구나라는 걸 감이 올 거고요. 마지막 해석 부분도 몇 번에 걸쳐서 한번 보면은 아 로저스가 이런 식으로 이 시연에 대해서 생각을 하고 있구나라고 할 수 있지 않을까 싶습니다. 자, 다음은 제가 이 시연 영상을 보고 그 다음에 이 로저스가 상담을 했던 거에 대해서 저는 어떻게 봤는지를 갖다가 좀 말씀드리도록 할게요. 사실 제가 어떻게 봤느냐보다는요, 그 후에 이 로저스 상담한 시연에 대해서 많은 사람들이 다음과 같이 이야기했습니다. 로저스 상담의 이 시연에는 다음과 같은 그 기법들이 녹아져 내려왔다라고 이야기했거든요. 그래서 그걸 갖다가 제가 간단하게 이야기하면서 로저스 시연에 대해서 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. 자, 로저스 상담 시연에 나타나는 상담 기법을 갖다가 총 8가지 정도로 이야기하고 있습니다. 첫 번째로 비전문가적인 언어를 사용했다고 합니다. 두 번째, 초언어적 진술, 메타 랭귀지인데요. 메타 랭귀지, 메타 코그니션은 많이 들어봤는데 약간 이 메타버벌하는 그 초언어적인 진술이 어떤 건지 우리가 좀 얘기해 보고요. 그 다음에 어려움에 동의하는 부정적인 진술. 그러니까 내담자가 진짜 어렵다. 아, 당신 정말 어려운 상황이 있네요. 인생이란 참 어려워요. 라고 이런 어려움을 동의하는 부정적인 진술을 로저스가 어떻게 사용하는지. 그 다음에 내담자의 심정을 표현하는 1인칭 화법. 그러니까 내담자인 것처럼 마치 우리가 나아 전달법 하듯이 내담자의 말로 이야기하는 그런 화법을 로저스가 어떻게 사용했는지. 그 다음에 내담자의 말이 내가 이야기한 게 내담자가 이야기하는 게 얘기하려고 하는 게 맞는지, 수정으로의 초대를 하는 이런 화법을 사용하는 게 맞았는지, 그런 기법을 사용했는지 한번 볼 거고요. 그 다음에 충고에 대한 요청을 참는 화술. 로저스가 맨 마지막에 얘기했죠. 어드바이스. 그러니까 내가 어떻게 해야 되는지 물어보면서 시작을 했다. 사실은 자기는 그걸 하니까 내담자가 그렇게 물어보는 게 너무 기뻤다라고 얘기했죠. 성 관련해서 성생활에 대해서 얘기하고, 그 다음에 충고, 어떻게 딸과의 관계에서 내가 어떻게 해야 되는지 자기한테 어드바이스를 해달라. 충고를 해달라고 했을 때 자기는 기뻤다고 했어요. 왜? 그만큼 자기하고 관계를 맺고 탐색하려고 하는 내담자의 모습을 보니까 기뻤다고 하죠. 그러면서 이거에 대한 답변을 하지 않는, 정답을 말해주지 않는 화법에 대해서 얘기하도록 하겠습니다. 그다음 문제에 대해서 재구조화하는 것. 그러니까 뭐 문제가 과연 당신 밖에 있는지, 로커스 오브 이밸류에이션이라는 얘기인데요. 그러니까 평가의 초점이 어디 있는지 그거에 대해서 로저스가 마지막에 얘기했는데 이 부분도 다 자기의 거예요. 전이현상의 반응 얘기했죠. 아빠와 로저스 선생님 이런 거에 대해서도 약간 얘기했는데 로저스는 그걸 어떻게 바라봤는지 카운터 트랜스퍼런스 and 카운터 트랜스퍼런스에 대해서 요거에 대해서 요 8가지 항목에 대해서 하나씩 살펴보면서 넘어가도록 하겠습니다. 자, 첫 번째, 비전문적 언어를 많이 사용했습니다. 특히나 로저스는 이 상담 시간에서 I don't know라는 말을 활용해서 호기심과 불확실성을 전달했습니다. 이 내담자한테요. 자, 처음부터 시작하죠. 그러면 우리가 30분 동안 함께 할 텐데요. I really don't know. What will we will able to make it? 나도 진짜 잘 모르겠는데 우리가 뭘 만들어낼지는 그렇지만 당신에 관련된 거는 뭐든지 알아냈으면 좋겠어요. 나도 잘 모르겠지만 호기심과 불확실성이죠. 그죠? 로저스가 또 이렇게 얘기하죠. I sure wish I could give you the answer. 나는 답을 줄 수 없지만 답을 줬으면 좋겠어요. 라는 불확실성을 제시하죠. And I guess this is a private things. I couldn't possibly answer to you. 그죠? 내가 전문가가 아니라 누가 전문가죠? 내담자가 전문가죠. 우리가 이걸 많이 배웠습니다, 선생님들. 이게 그 로저스의 상담 기법은 뭐였죠? 처음에 indirect. 그죠? 직접적이지 않고, indirect approach죠. 간접적이고, 이렇게, 까먹었어요, 제가. non-directing 한 거다가, 그러다가 이제 내담자 중심으로 가다가 인간 중심으로 바뀌죠. 한마디로 얘기해서, 누가 전문가라고요? 내담자가 전문가이고, 내가 전문가가 아니다. I don't know라는 말을 사용해서, 호기심과 탐색하게 하고, 불확실성하고, 그 다음에 내담자가 스스로 너에게 정답을 나는 찾아간다. 그리고 네가 답을 가지고 있다라는 걸 보여주는 이런 전문가적인 언어를 비전문가적인 언어를 사용하는 걸 우리가 알 수 있습니다. 다음으로는 메타 스테이트먼트. 메타 우리가 커그니션을 많이 사용하는데 사실 이것도 아까 I don't know와 약간 관련된 것 중인데요. 대화에 대한 대화를 많이 사용하고 있습니다. 메타 스테이트먼트라고 하죠. 내가 지금 말하고 싶은 것은 제 생각에 제가 지금 말하고 싶은 것은 내가 지금 말하고 싶은 것은 이런 식으로 내 머릿속에 지금 말하고 싶은 것이 무엇인지에 대해서 내가 말하고 있는 겁니다. 이런 초인지적, 초언어적인 진술을 굉장히 많이 사용하는 게 이 로저스 상담에서 관찰되고 있습니다. 자, 여기서 보시면요. I sure wish I give you the answer. 똑같은 얘기죠. 네? Because what you really want is answer. 그죠? 이런 식으로 what I want to ask now. I guess I'd like to say. 이렇게 이런 질문을 말씀드립니다. I guess I'd like to say. 전 이렇게 말하고 싶다고 생각했어요. 내 안에서 생각했다는 거죠. 아니요. 전 당신이 당신 감정 안에서 마음 좁도록 놔두고 싶지 않아요. 이건 내 생각을 내 마음 속에서 얘기하는 거죠. 이런 말을. 그죠? 이해가세요? One thing I must ask. What is it you wish I would say to you? 내가 물어보고자 하는 한 가지는 내가 어떤 말을 해주기 원하나요? 라고 내 머릿속에서 대화를 했다라는 것. 당신한테 얘기하고 싶은 말을 했다라는 이런 메타 스테이트먼트를 굉장히 많이 사용하는 것을 우리가 볼 수 있습니다. 이를 통해서 뭘 얘기할까요? 저희가 얘기하는 거는. 내 안에서 내담자와 얘기할 때 내 안에서 나 스스로에게 당신에게 이해하고자 하는 대화에 대한 대화를 내가 스스로 탐색하고 궁금해하고 당신에 대한 호기심과 불확실성 그리고 당신이 전문가이기 때문에 당신에 대한 그런 것 갖다 알려주고 들어간다라는 걸 우리가 알 수 있습니다. 그죠? 그러니까 글로리아 이런 얘기하죠. 저는 선생님이 나에게 이렇게 말씀 주겠어요. 당신 정직해져라. 그죠? 이런 식의 얘기를 합니다. 자, 다음은 우리가 어려움에 동의하는 부정적인 진술을 굉장히 로저 선생님이 많이 사용하는 걸 알 수 있습니다. 일상생활에서 우리가 하는 대화와 다르게 로저스는 내담자가 경험하는 힘든 과정을 반복적인 평가문항을 사용해서 언급하고 있어요. 평가문항이라 하니까 좀 나쁜 말 같죠? 근데 이건 다르게 얘기하면 정말 힘든 거군요. 정말 많이 힘드네요. 이런 얘기를 갖다가 아주 강력하게 얘기하는 거죠. 자, 한번 보세요. I guess that's what I mean. 이것도 굉장히 사실은 초언어적인 거죠. 내 생각에는 당신이 내가 의미하고자 하는 것은 when I say, 내가 얘기했을 때 삶이란 위험하다라는 걸 말한다는 의미라고 볼 수 있겠는데요. 이것도 초언어적인 것한 게 삶이란 위험하다. 그에게 있어서 당신이 되고자 하는 사람으로서 책임을 진다는 것은 hell of a responsibility. 진짜 엄청난 책임감이에요. 그렇죠? 어려움이잖아요. 한 아이를 책임진다는 게 진짜 힘들죠. 그 얘기를 갖다가 hell of responsibility, 어려움에 동의한다는 거예요. 애를 키운다는 건 쉽지 않다는 거죠. 글로리아가 뭐라 그래요? 그렇죠. 그러니까 뭐라 그래요, 로저 선생님이? Very frightening one. 정말 무서운 일이에요. 이런 책임감이라는 건 무섭다는 거죠. It's so damn hard to really choose something on your own. 혼자 이 모든 걸 결정한다는 건 진짜 너무나도 어려운 거죠. Damn hard. 진짜 어려운 거죠. 정말 어려운 일처럼 들리는데요. Sounds like a tough assignment. Does it? 네. 이런 식으로 로저스 선생님은 지금 글로리아가 얼마나 힘들 거라는 거에 대해서 확실하게 이야기해 주죠. 책임진다라는 게 쉽지 않죠. 삶에는 정말 위험한 걸 수도 있어요. 혼자서 결정해야 한다는 거 만만치 않을 것 같아요. 이거 정말 어려운 일 같은데요. 그렇게 들려요. 라고 얘기하는 로저스 선생님만의 강력한 어려움을, 내담자의 어려움을 동의하는 이런 모습을 우리가 관찰할 수 있었습니다. 자, 더 재밌는 건데요. 내담자의 심정을 표현하는 1인칭 화법을 많이 사용합니다. 마치 로저스 선생님이 내담자인 것처럼 이 글로리아의 언어를 사용해서 내담자가 생각하고 느끼는 것을 1인칭 화법으로 이야기를 합니다. 자, 여기서 보세요. You feel this is a conflict. 당신은 이것이 갈등이 되고 It is just insolvable. 풀릴 수 없다고 느끼는 거죠. Therefore it is hopeless. 그래서 무기력하고 Here you look to me. 여기서 나를 보고 있는데 I don't seem to give you any help. 나는 당신을 아무런 도움이 없다고 보는 거죠. 이런 거죠. 당신은 이런 식으로 느끼는 것 같아요. 나도 애들이 자기 아빠에 대해서 느끼는 만큼이나 나를 좋게 봤으면 좋겠다는 거예요. 맞아요. 만약 그가 약간 가식적이라도 나의 경우에도 역시 그래야 할 것 같다. 저는 그것이 약간 강하게 누른다는 생각이 드네요. 하지만 당신 안에 무언가 얘기해요. 하지만 난 그렇게 하고 싶지 않아. 그게 정말 옳은 게 아니라면. 자, 여기서 봅시다. 첫 번째, 두 번째 식당, 두 번째 봅시다. 당신은 이렇게 느낀 것 같아요. 당신이 여기는 누굴까요? 글로리아죠. 근데 그 다음에 나도 애들이 자기 아빠에 느끼는 만큼 여기서 나는 누구예요? 글로리아죠. 근데 로저쌤은 뭐라 그랬어요? 나라가 했죠. I라고 했죠. 나를 좋게 봐. 나는 누구예요? 또 이것도 글로리아죠. 로저스 선생님이 글로리아인 것처럼 얘기하는 거죠. 그 다음에 두 번째 거 보세요. 만약 그가 약간 그라는 거는 지금 그 누구야? 그 남편이죠. 나의 경우에도 그러고 나는 누구예요? 글로리아죠. 저는 그게 가끔 약간 강하게 누른다는 생각이 드네요. 그렇죠. 네. 하지만 당신 안에 무언가 얘기, 당신은 뭐예요? 이거는 글로리아죠. 하지만 난 그렇게 하고 싶지 않아. 거기 나는 누구예요? 글로리아죠. 무슨 말인지 아시겠어요? 자, 이렇게 가다 보니까 당연히 어떻게 돼요? 내담자와 하나가 됩니다. 나중에 여기서 보면 이거는 거의 지금 이제 여기서부터는 당신은 때때로 정말 자신이 들을 수 있다고 이렇게 깨닫네요. 아니야 이건 옳은 느낌이 아니야. 이거 누구예요? 글로리아가 스스로에게 얘기하는 거죠. 로저 선생님이 얘기해 주는 거예요. 이건 내가 원했던 것이 아니야. 내가 느껴 여기 내가 또 다 이거 글로리아예요. 그래 글로리아가 그걸 받아쳐요. 그냥 받아서 그냥 이어가요. 하지만 많은 경우 저는 계속 그렇게 할 거예요. 어쨌든 할 거고요. 그리고 말할 거예요. 오, 글쎄, 난 지금 이 상황에 처했어. 이걸 다음엔 기억할 거야. 지금 둘이서 얘기했는데 사실 글로리아가 혼자 얘기한 거랑 다름없어요. 그죠? 더 재밌어요, 이거는. 이거는 이제 아버지에 대해서 얘기하는 거죠. 당신 아빠한테 말하겠죠? 이게 지금 나야. 알겠어요? 그러니까 글로리아가 맞아요. 당신이 아빠거든요. 아빠가 이렇게 나를 키웠잖아. 좋아요. 둘이 거의 뭐 한 사람이 얘기하는 거죠. 네, 한 사람이 얘기하는. 내담자와 하나가 되는 1인칭 화법을 만들어내는 네, 이런 기법이 굉장히 중요하죠. 이게 결국 뭐예요? 어떤 면에서는. 네? 역할 한 거죠. 그러니까 이 글로리아 역할을 로저 선생님이 한 거예요. 그죠? 그리고 글로리아는 자기 역할을 한 거고요. 그러면서 자기 자신에 대해서 조금 더 자세히 알게 되는 그런 걸 우리가 볼 수 있겠죠. 자, 다음은 이제 수정으로의 초대입니다. 일상적인 대화에서는 보통 화자, 말하는 사람은 스스로 자기 한 말을 고쳐서 이야기합니다. 아, 내가 그렇게 얘기 안 했어. 아, 내가 생각해보니까 이거 잘못 얘기했네. 이렇게 하죠. 근데 이런 경우에 조조스는 오히려 반대가 어떻게 돼요? 내담자가 이야기한 거에 대해서 아, 이렇게 말했는데 이게 맞나요? 라고 확인하는 절차를 갖는 거예요. 이런 절차는 내담자가 한 말을 상담자가 잘 알아듣는지 확인해 줄 뿐만 아니라 내담자의 상황은 내담자가 더 잘 알고 있다. 상담자가 전문가가 아니라 누가 전문가라고요? 내담자가 전문가라는 것을 상기시켜 준다. 또한 상담자의 표현과 내적인 심정의 일치도 역시 나타내 주고 있죠. 그래서 로저 선생님이 이런 얘기 많이 하죠. Is that right? 네. Is that what you saying? 당신 이렇게 말한 거 맞아요? 그러니까 맞아요 이렇게 얘기하죠. 그러니까 I think this 내가 is a little bit too strong. 내가 너무 강하게 얘기한 것 같은데요. 그러니까 글로리아가 오히려 뭐라 그래요? But that's both. 거의 그래요. That's what I mean. 내가 말했다는 거 생각했단 말이에요. 이렇게 얘기하죠. 이런 식으로 일본 기본적으로는 화자, 자기가 말하는 사람이 자기 말한 걸 고치는데 이거는 어때요? 상담자가 내담자한테 아, 내가 이렇게 이해했는데 내가 이해한 게 맞나요? 라고 질문하면서 내담자가 누구라고요? 전문가라는 거지, 자기 일에. 내가 전문가, 상담자가 전문가가 아니라 그런 걸 갖다 알려주는 이런 화수를 사용하는 걸 우리가 볼 수 있습니다. 자, 충고에 대한 요청을 계속 참죠. 내담자는 사실은 상담자에게 충고를 많이 요청하죠. 제발 이거 어떻게 해야 돼요? 내가 이혼해야 돼요? 이혼하지 말아야 돼요? 이거 맨날 내담자 이혼하러 와서 맨날 질문하는 거죠. 난 정말 이혼하라고 얘기해주고 싶은 내담자도 많죠. 선생님이 이혼하라고 내가 이혼할게요. 또 이혼하라고 하면 또 이혼도 안 해요. 그죠? 그런 사람들 막 이렇게 충고를 많이 원하죠. 아, 내가 이쪽으로 가야 돼, 저쪽으로 가야 돼요. 이 대학을 가야 돼, 저 대학을 가야 돼요. 네, 이거 뭐 어떻게 해야 되는지 모르겠어요. 이거 관둬요, 말아요. 그럴 때 오히려 충고를 참고 내담자가 스스로 결정을 내릴 수 있는 능력을 가지고 있다고 믿어주는 화법으로 충고를 참는 걸 우리가 볼 수 있어요. 자, 글로리아가 여기서 쭉 얘기하죠. 그러면서 로저스는 아까 뭐였어요? 메타 스테이먼, 초인지로 말하죠. 그럼 전 이렇게 말하고 있어요. 내 마음속의 말이에요. 그죠? 아니요. 전 당신의 감정 안에 마음 졸이게 놔두고 싶지 않아요. 그죠? 너무 힘들잖아, 지금. 그죠? 그러나 반면에 이건 또 너무 개인적이고 스스로 결정해야 하는 문제라서 내가 답을 줄 수 없을 것 같아요. 그러나 제가 당신이 이 해답을 얻도록 도와주기 위해서는 무엇이든지 해야 할 거라고 스스로 이야기하고 있어요. 그게 당신에게 내가 지금 얘기하는 말이 이해가 되는지 모르지만 제 생각은 그래요. 라고 얘기하면서 충고, 그러니까 어떻게 해야 되는지, 딸한테 솔직히 말해야 되는지, 아니면 솔직하게 말해야 되지 않는지, 성관계에 대해서요. 이거에 대해서 충고에 대한 요청을 참는 이런 모습을 볼 수 있습니다. 마찬가지죠. 내가 어떻게 받아들일 수 있나요? 했을 때 자신에 대해서 좀 더 반응을 가진다는 거죠. 라고 하면서 이렇게 충고에 대한 요청을 참는 화수를 우리가 볼 수 있습니다. 자, 문제에 대한 재구조가 굉장히 중요한 부분이죠. 문제가 지금 뭐예요? 아까 로커스 오브 이밸류에이션이라고 했잖아요. 이게 평가에 대한 초점이 외부에 있단 말이에요. 거의 대부분. there and then이라고 했잖아요. 아까 감정에 대해서도. 근데 here and now로 가져왔다 그런 거랑 똑같아요. 사실 문제도 지금 외부의 걸로 이렇게 보면은 답이 안 나오죠. 근데 어떻게 돼요? 상담에게 다를 수 있는 수준으로 문제와 해결 방식을 안으로 가져와서 결국은 누구예요? 누가 해결해요? 내담자가 해결할 수 있는 능력을 가진 사람이라고 인식해 주는 그런 것이죠. 자, 여기서 로저 선생님이 했죠. 그럼 이 문제가 그 애의 문제라든지 그 애와 당신과의 관계 문제만은 아니라는 게 확실하네요. 이게 당신 안의 문제라는 것도 있네요. 예, 하지만 전 당신 이렇게 말해요. 애들뿐만 아니라 당신도 그러고 싶지 않네요. 이게 정말 이렇지 않다면 알겠어요. 당신은 당신의 행동이 당신 밖에 있는 것처럼 들리네요. 당신은 자신이 용납하고 싶지만 어떤지 당신이 하는 행동들은 자기 자신을 용납하지 않게 하는군요. 그래서 안으로 가져오죠. 로커스 오브 이밸루에이션. 그죠? 여러분들 잘 보면 알 거예요. 이게 문제를 갖다가 너 안에서 그렇죠. 자기 개념이 굉장히 중요하잖아요. 결국은 뭐예요? 내 안에 자기 개념이 통합이 되는가? 그게 되게 키잖아요. 그러니까는 문제를 갖다가 안으로 가져오는 해결 가질 수 있는 너 스스로에게 너의 자신감, 그렇죠. 자신감 어떤 면에서 자신감, 자존감 이런 거에 연결이 됐다라고 보면 될 것 같습니다. 자, 그래서 이 연구가 있어요. Analysis of the Carl Rogers in a Client-Centered Conversation with Gloria. 그래서 JCD에서 2013년에 이 논문을 발표했고요. 보시면 알겠지만 이 세 가지죠. empathy, genuine 진솔성, 공감, 그 다음 unconditional positive regard, 무조건적인 긍정적인 관심. 이 세 가지가 이제 대표적인 이제 그 꼭지점이라고 하고요. 우리가 아까 얘기했던 8가지의 기법들이 이렇게 나타난다라는 걸 볼 수 있습니다. 그래서 여러분들, 저는 여러분들이 조금 약간 요 로저스 상담에 대해서 좀 다시 한번 오늘 이 시간에 좀 보면 어떨까 이런 생각을 해봤습니다. 1시간 정도 지났기 때문에 여기까지 하고 오늘은 마무리하고 제가 또 그 펄스 비디오를 다시 또 찍어서 그걸 가지고 얘기하도록 하겠습니다. 여기까지 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.